your horse? Walker. That's his name, Walker. You know, my pony's name is Walkaway Jackie. Is Walker a thoroughbred? Barb, I'm going to read your story. Barb says, I am 51. And 2 Aprils ago, I decided I needed to get back to horses. I was 8 when I became smitten. Started riding at 10, got my first at 11, and she died when I was 19. Walker here is my second. He just turned 7. Well, he's just a youngster. I had wanted to train a horse, and a former student who lives close rehomes former racers. Walker is in need of a total restarting, and when I went to see him, my decision was made. I have been reading, watching videos, and watching him ever since. And I started off feeling in a hurry, like I had to get somewhere fast. And I have spent the first year continually downshifting. I know how that is. Horses teach us so much, don't they? He has been adopted before I got him, and that didn't go well. He'd come back thin and missing hair in only a few months. Oh, poor fella. It took several months just to earn his trust. He is a smart and pretty quick and really loves to be seen. Really seen. I bet when his feet get right, he's going to love to run. I've always been big on doing what I can myself. I've read at least 10 books on different types of training and watched at least 3 times as many videos. A book by a man named Bill Dorrance has ended up being the guide I want to use for training. At the end of the day, what is most important to me is that I have a clear, honest, solid, and trust-filled relationship with Walker. I think that's awesome. That is a wonderful goal. Soon after getting him, I started researching how to trim his feet. It wasn't too long before I happened upon your videos. I watched many as well as some of the other people's. The more I watched the other people's, the more I was drawn to yours. I love the fact that you are always searching and questioning and are clear if you find you've been doing something that you have found is not optimal and advise change. Walker had some tension and anxiety when I got him. That led me to searching for ways to help. I found the Masterson method. I can hardly explain how this one thing has changed and deepened our relationship. I believe that they can hear what we feel in our hearts. I believe that too. I keep him at a neighbor's house and felt very bad for him being there alone. So 5 months after getting him, I got a free horse and a whole host of other lessons. Joe Kelly was an Amish-owned cart horse, large pony. I thought he was pretty well made by how he was described. I was wrong. It seems as though all those ground manners they said he had been beat into him. Well, you know, that's the Amish. Yeah, I got him here too. For a few months, it was hard to work with Walker at all because he would follow Joe Kelly's lead and just stay away from me when I would come near. I thought a few times about getting rid of Joe Kelly, but he was a favorite of each of the grandkids, so I persisted. Things have turned out nicely. Walker is now the lead horse, and Joe Kelly is getting less and less skittish and has even begun developing some curiosity, courage, and trust. Oh, that's great. I have been doing Walker's feet since I got him and had thought they were not too bad. I knew the fronts were a little dished. I went a few months without trimming this winter, but Lordy, just even taking the pictures, I was seeing more. That's why we take these pictures. It's part of this whole process. When I got home and looked at them on the computer, I was positively mortified. Yeah, tell me about it. See, I went through this myself when I gave up for a year and didn't hardly trim my horse. I want to go trim him tomorrow. I can already see so much that needs doing. Sigh. I am way excited about the possibility of being able to take your course. Even if I can't, I'm already excited about how taking pictures can help me see what's going on at his feet. That's exactly right. Thanks for reading. Well, thanks for sharing, Barb. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for having a heart for these two animals. Because I guarantee you, Joe Kelly there, Amish don't think nothing about taking a horse that served them all its life and just throwing it in a sail and sending it to the killer. You know, it's just a machine to most of them. I imagine there's a few people that aren't that way. But so now we're going to look at the pictures. And we're going to look at the right front foot. Okay, now, how many of you watched that dissection video I just did on there that I left you with, where I took the ruler and I show you how the horn tubules up here, they start here and they should end here, let's say. But when the toes get long and the heels get low, this horn tubule that starts here and should end here winds up clear up here, just like what's going on with Barb's horse here. Do you see what I'm saying, Barb? You see how this horse is wanting to self-trim right here? See the horn tubule? See, it was like this. This horse is wanting to self-trim right here. You could actually go in here and just cut this whole chunk out. He's wanting to get rid of it. See that? Yeah, well, but this is a good thing. You could go in here and just draw a line from here to here, and you could take all of this off. Now, all of this here has to be here, not here. Do you see how that's keeping the toe up forward there? Now, what I need to do is show you my horse and what I did to him. I take a hacksaw blade and I'll follow the horn tubules down to about where they start to go out. Like, look here. Right here is about good. Right here starts to go out. So what I did, and I'll show you a picture of my horse, was, now you know how thick the hoof wall is. So about 1/16 of an inch or through the hardest horn tubules, I will take a hacksaw blade and I will just make a thin cut like that. And then these horn tubules here are going to want to grow down straight like this instead of following the wall like this. I'm going to show you photos of that, show you how bad the feet were. So I gave up in 2014. I had this forum going. It was going pretty good. I had this gal, one of these days I'll get a hold of her. She had this horse named Mac. I could not figure those feet out to save my life. And it so discouraged me. And the fact that I kept thinking that wild horse foot was right around the corner and it never came. And I gave up in 2014. I did not trim Valor for maybe twice, 3 times in a year, and I never took pictures of his feet either. I decided I was going to sell him. I'm getting rid of all of them. So I brought him in. This is where I took pictures of him because I was going to try and find him a home. Had Leah holding him. Well, that's all fine and good. Nice looking horse there. Somebody might take him. I took pictures of his feet. That's what the feet looked like. That's where I quit. Okay, and for the next year, I just lost heart. Everything. Looky there, no heel. Then I came back. Okay, I did do a back foot trim on him. Right here, 15, that was it for me. And if you look in here, I was working on Jackie, because of course I've been trimming the heels out of her too. So all we have is Jackie here through 2015, except for this one hind. I used the rasp instead of a hacksaw blade to make a groove in the horn tubules so that those growing down didn't want to follow those that were growing out. And this is when I had it just pretty much about grown out. Or maybe I used a hack. Let us look at this monstrosity that I had when I got him in and finally took pictures of his feet again. This is the left front. It's always had this. Look at that ugly thing. See, I was horrified. So you want to talk about being horrified, Barb? Looky there. From what I showed you before when I quit, that nice little foot, to this. What you find is that you can trim these horses wrong and you can make them have that nice tidy little foot, but as soon as you let it grow out, it turns into a monster. See, look at the other one here. Look at that central sulcus. Look at that. Is that horrible or what? So my goal was to get his feet in shape and get rid of him. Here's what I decided to do. All right, I went in and trimmed him, and see that line there? I decided I was going to take a hacksaw and I was going to make a separation there so that the horn tubules coming down did not follow the ones that were flared out. There we go. There's our hacksaw. Now look at the width of the hacksaw compared to the width of the wall. You see that? I knew if I just went in about that deep, that was going to separate the hardest horn tubules, the ones from above, from the ones below, so that the ones above would be encouraged to grow straight down instead of following the ones that were curved. Right here, I was taking pictures on purpose so I could determine how deep I wanted to go. See there? And so I began. And there, look, this did not destabilize the wall at all, but what it did do, the hardest, most numerous horn tubules that are on the outer wall were separated from those beneath so that this wall would want to grow straight down. I mean, my goodness, look at that. That's horrid. Okay, now I'm just showing you what I did. I just decided I was going to bevel my wall. This is before I was beveling it from underneath. I started doing that later. See, if I was to do that now, I'd take it from underneath. Okay, so now that foot is set up for this good hoof wall here to grow down straight and not follow that there. This foot has changed so much since I grow the heels back. Look at those horrid bars. And the blue stuff. Okay, there's our molly, and that helped that wall grow out. The true apex of the frog, if you go right here and you go straight down, will end about here. If then you turn the foot over, that's where the true apex of the frog would be. The one reason I bevel the toe back is so that it will help this dorsal wall grow down. This is why you have to figure out where the true apex of the frog is, and there are 3 different ways to do it. Otherwise, you'd be trimming and leaving your toe long here. Do you see that, Barb? The one way is to trim it down. The third way is to, and this is the first way I did it. See, I was doing Gene Ovanek's mapping where you trim down to the true apex of the frog, and then you measure forward. I can't remember if he was measuring forward an inch or an inch and a fourth, or I don't remember exactly what it was. But that's what I was doing. But I did not know that the apex had stretched way forward. Let's see. All these cracks, this is from the horn tubules growing up like this. Right here, they can't grow anymore, so they're making a crack right here. See, but this heel is wanting to be back here. See, so you can come in here and you do the mapping and you take this all the way back to the white line, but you got to get the toe right and do that alternate beveling. And of course, you got to get the toe back correctly. See, when you don't have your heels right, then your wall is unstable here. Now this wall will grow down. It flares out from right there and from right about here. See that? If this was to go straight, we'd come in about that much. Go straight, we'd come in about that much. See, so this is pretty much wall that has been belled out, and the horn tubule wants to follow that wall. They're like one big long hair. So you have to find a true apex of this frog. Have you done that yet, Barb? Okay, now I'll explain to you. Now this is one thing that I like to do, and you need to do this yourself. Okay, you see how we take pictures sideways and how the foot falls to the side? Rotate that, baby, and get her straight. Okay, then when you get it straight, you can really see what's going on. When you're looking at it cockeyed, you don't feel like you can do the right thing. Okay, so there we got a straight foot. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go to paint. And then I'm going to enlarge it. So we come in here and we map the foot. We're going to map this foot. Now look how, see the white line stretched here? Look how the sole don't want to go with it. Over here, I think you're okay. But over here, sole has said, no, I don't want to stretch over there. So this really tells you, once you get the foot straight in your pictures, you know, you need to find a program that you can work with your feet in the pictures, because that'll help you translate over into your trimming. So we come in there and do that. And then we're going to find the apex of the frog, which is probably about here. See there? What happened to me was, when I first discovered that my toes were way long, because I got x-rays just to get x-rays. And so I had been doing gene over X mapping, and I had been measuring, and I had even been trimming down the apex of the frog a little bit. But my toes were still too long. I'll have to show you those x-rays. Not right now, though. So what Gene does is he finds the widest part of the foot. Well, here's what he does. Let's see if I can remember how I did this, okay, because it's kind of confusing. All right, so I was finding the true apex of the frog, what I thought was, and then I was measuring forward with his measurement, all right? But here's the thing. My true apex of the frog, or my apex, was clear up here. Now his measurements, what they do is from the widest part of the foot forward, he has a measurement to the true apex of the frog, I think. Anyway, something I did different was I found the widest part of the foot. I measured forward 3/4 of an inch right there. And then I made my line there, even though I had dug out the apex of my frog and it seemed like it was up here. I went ahead and positioned it like this, and then I measured up here, and then I wound up cutting off that much toe that day. See, I'm going to have to go through that again, try and remember exactly what I did, but that is what I did. I found the widest part of the foot. I measured forward 3/4 of an inch, and then I just believed that that was where my true apex was really supposed to be. And then I just went ahead and cut the toe off. And I mean, I nipped that thing all the way across, and that was scary as heck. That's the first time I took a toe back. But I believed what I was seeing at the time in the anatomy. So that's one way that I learned to do it. The other way, of course, is you continually have to find it by removing the tip. If it's stretched forward, it'll dry up and pop off and move back. Now, the other way is from the side, like I showed you, but I need to go into that more. Finding the true apex is very important, because here's the thing. All this frog is coming back with the heels, right? This whole frog is moving back. So if the old apex is stuck up here, it's going to retard your progress from that frog moving back. Now, let's look at this again. So I don't really do the middle of the foot thing like Gene does anymore. What I'm showing you is not, just because I divide this up into 3 sections, this isn't the natural 1/3, 2/3 balance of the equine foot. Okay, that thing is so misunderstood, it's ridiculous. We'll have to go into that one of these days. All I'm doing by what I do, when I come up here and I find the true apex of the frog, and I make a line, and then I measure up, and then I make a line across the toe. All I'm doing is marking my toe and finding my pillars right there. And then I make the same measurement back right there, and then I draw this line. So all this is doing for me is telling me where my quarters are, where my pillars are, or toe quarters, sides of the toe, and where the toe is, and about where the heels are. That's all this is doing. This is not me trying to find the natural 1/3, 2/3 balance the equine foot. And again, I want to go through some fallacies, that misunderstandings that people have had, and show you why barefoot trimming is so screwed up. We're going to have a whole session on that. And then, I show you what you do here. Now, the reason I take this toe back is because there's no leverage on the front of a wild horse's foot, but you have to create a boundary so the wall will grow down to here. A boundary. Now, if you find or you think that taking it back makes your horse a little tender or whatever, just take a little less off and do it maybe a little more often, because also you're wanting that wall to grow back, so you have to keep the leverage off of it if you want that wall to grow back and retain the sole back here. If the sole is stretched way up to here because the wall's taking it with it, you're taking this wall back. You're creating your line in the sand here. The toe will not go beyond. And you can change that 1/8 of an inch here and there. It doesn't have to be written in stone. Okay, but you are wanting that wall to grow down, and if your sole is way out here, that's where the wall is going to grow. So you've created a line in the sand right there. And so your wall, you're wanting your wall to go down to this line, retain the sole behind it, and that way your sole ridge will get nice and thick back here. I can do that. Now right here, you definitely, I think, need to bevel this down a few times. Leave some of the quarter here a little bit and work on this area here. And then come in, let it pull back. If you bevel to the white line here, hopefully some of them horn tubules will move back. Okay, there's your bar. Let's take green for the bar right here by the side of the frog. Okay, we're just going to go back here to where your heel is. You see how you have to take off this bar here? Now you can kind of look and eyeball it. Is this the same as that? See what I'm saying? Or do you have one that's way out like this? Don't follow your distortion. Don't follow your distorted heel out like this and your distorted overgrown bar. Okay? The bars anatomically lie right along here. Okay? So then you're going to want to come in here and you're just going to want to peel this back. See all this here? This needs to come back clear into here. All that needs to be cleaned up because this is laying over the sole, choking out the sole right here. This wall here, this has to be cleaned out, right out into here. You want to clean these out way back into here. Remember when we first started, I said you want to get this little piece of bar in here. Yeah, it will get pulled out by the toe wall. So you just kind of gotta, create boundaries for all this stuff and get the leverages off that are exceeding those boundaries. See, this is probably the true shape of your foot right here. See it? See, it's more like right here. See, this side isn't quite as distorted as this side. The thing is, if you follow the mapping, it'll help you maintain. This is what the mapping is about. Anatomical boundaries for the inside of the internal foot. There's a boundary for everything. See this bar? See where the bar is? Right here? Okay, you don't want this bar growing up and laying over this sole corium. This is just where I was measuring the heels there. Yeah, every part. Boy, that's a good observation. Every part. Barb says it's all a unit. One part affects another. That's right. and see what happens a lot of times in these feet. Because, okay, in the original picture, you see how it's to the side there? What happens is, a lot of times you will trim out one heel more than the other. Notice how this is the lateral side. It seems to be we trim out the lateral heel more than the medial heel. So more heel buttress is trimmed out over here, so the hoof wall is unstable. Okay, so it pushes forward. This heel will run forward more because there's less heel buttress and it's usually trimmed out more. Well, then it's going to push the wall out to the side and push the toe forward. It'll do all kinds of funky things. Not only that, it can also pull all of this over straighter. Yeah, okay, what I have is a program called Snaglet. It comes with Camcastia Studio, but I think you can just buy the Snaglet. Oh, okay. Do you have any more questions, Barb, for right now? Okay, do you see the difference that made straightening that foot up? And what's going to happen, Barb, when you come in here and remove this? The sole is going to be very thin because the bar is laid over the sole and choked it out. You got to get that. You got to just gently come under there and start lifting it up off of that sole, and you probably find dirt under there too. Don't dig with the hook of your knife. Use the flat edge and just start coming up underneath it. Does that make sense? Okay, now I know you were concerned about the periopal. Which foot is that you're concerned about, the periopal holding the foot forward? Let's talk about that foot. This is the right front. Well, your heels are growing in, so that's good. Got some heel there. Ah, I bet it's this one. Boy, that thing's little. Look at the bulb sticking out there. Yeah, see, so I know that is not the true apex of the frog. Do you understand? I know that's got to be back here. All right? And I know the toe is too long. A lot of times they get this divot in them because there's a bacteria that likes to get up there and eat stretched lamina and likes to put that divot in the toe. Okay, the main thing is, see, that's actually looking pretty good back there. Okay, the problem is, you see these horn tubules? Okay, this section of horn tubule, just a minute, because I had to do this on my horse. This whole section here, it needs to come back here. And when it does, it'll help push these horn tubules back better, so that it'll straighten this up and push up your bulb where it's supposed to be. I can show you pictures on Valor. Now, what I'd do is I'd be standing there looking down at his foot, and I think that looks weird. So I would just take a pencil and I would just draw a line like that, and then I would take off some of this. I would take this off here so that it would give it room. It would give, these horn tubules have to have room. Now see, your toe looks like it's kind of coming back there, but these horn tubules have to have room to move back. Like you said, one thing affects another. Well, you'll see it. See, it's longer. This, look at how it is there. See how it's longer than right here? You can see that this comes out like this, and so it's longer. Remember, this from here to here is supposed to be shorter than from here to here, right? But look how it's longer. Oh, yeah. And it gets away from you and you don't realize it, because what happens is, now I have taught that wild horses wear their quarters off continually, but domestic horses, what happens is they get long and they're either going to jam up the hairline or they're going to flare outward. And that's what's going on here. This wall is coming out. It's going to take the least path of resistance. Well, this actually, yeah, you could do the dorsal wall mapping, but if you notice, the problem isn't right here. Okay? That's about where your dorsal wall mapping would go to. Your problem is in what's going to be the quarter right here. Yeah, you do dorsal wall mapping, but look up here. Here's the center of your toe, and look how you're shorter and lower as you go down that way. So the problem isn't necessarily right in here. The problem is this chunk of wall right here. See, but your heel is clear up here, but your quarter, just a minute, your quarter, the problem right now is pretty much in your quarter. See it there? See, this is holding everything up right here. Let me show you a picture. Okay, this isn't a very good picture. All right, but, okay, you see how the hoof was right here? This hoof wall went clear up like this. See what I mean? This was the quarter, keeping everything forward and keeping that. And so now look at it here, how it got straightened out. Okay, now as it's coming back, you got to be trimming it down so that it has room to move. You know, you've got too much hoof wall here. This hoof wall is going to shorten up and all move back straight here. You know, it's longer than it's supposed to be. So as it moves back, you're trimming it off. You'll come out and you'll go, wow, my hoof wall grew. No, it didn't grow. What happened was the wall just decided it had room to move, so it comes back this way, and that'll help these horn tubules up here grow down straighter as well. Yes, I do believe that will definitely keep the heels pulled forward. Because like you said, it's all connected. One thing affects another. It's like a big bunch of dominoes. You know, I was just learning to do this. And like I said, on my horse, I missed some opportunities. So now I'm having to try and figure out how to fix them in a different kind of way. Like you saw that one picture of my horse's foot looked really good, heels really under and straight. Well, then I didn't, you know, continue on with how I was doing that in time-wise. You need to be there to correct this when it comes down and to do that alternate beveling. Otherwise, you miss an opportunity and the foot will shift a different way. All right, well, I think that's it for tonight. It's 9:12. I want to thank you all. Barb, do you have any questions? Oh, you're welcome, dear. You know, really looking forward to seeing this off the track. You know, hey, the way they shoe them and trim them on the track leads to the very foot you got. Well, appreciate all you guys being here. And together we're going to raise a fuss. Yes, we are ready to change the world for horses. We are developing a strong cell. We're a sleeper cell. Wait till we get moving. We ain't going to take no baloney. All you guys just need a foundation, and you will change the world. You won't put up with no guff. I want to get a group started for the class on Facebook. Just for this class. Rufus has been after me to do that as well. Yes, I do take a donation here and there. If you would like to donate, you can go to my website, and there's a note on the forum there about that. And right now I'm saving up to open up a special site. You know, all of that gets donated to me, I try and put back into this. Yeah, I got a deal in the works, a special site with all the bells and whistles. It'll have everything on it. The forum, it'll have special group pages, special interest pages, membership, the whole thing. Because in order to change the world, we're going to have to get organized. Thank you, Shirlene. In fact, Shirlene started a web page for me, her and her daughter, bless their hearts. They did that quite a few years ago. But it's my web page. They started it and then they gave it to me. They said, you need a web page. And then they started it and they gave it to me. Okay, guys. God bless you all. Have a great week. Happy trimming. Bye-bye.